Hell Let Loose saw another update recently with new maps, improvements to realism, but we also have some interesting things to talk about with an upcoming new game mode and some other stuff in the world of World War II milsims happening too. So let's get into it. I'm LCTR. Let's have another look at the continuing development of Hell Let Loose, where we review the state of the game and check out whether it's worth your time. So if you like that sort of thing, then don't forget to tap that sub button and jingle that festive bell. And of course, before we start, in my normal full disclosure way, I want to say that all the way back in 2020, the publishers of Hell Let Loose gave me a key to access the game so I could make videos about it on my channel. Seems every major update we're seeing new play spaces added to the game, and certainly like something brand new, but in the meantime these variations we're getting certainly keep things fresh. Makes me wonder if we could even have some weather variations of maps happen too, but I digress. The real meat of this update, for me at least, is the Alamein Dusk variant, a time of day that we really haven't had in the game up until now. The patch notes say this is historically accurate time of day for this particular battle, so I'm going to let the historians in the comments section check out the veracity of that statement. So if you're one of the historically inclined in the comments section, please do leave a comment below and let me know how well the devs did on the time of day. The map itself really stands out from just about every other map currently in Hell Let Loose, and because of that it requires a different mindset to play it. And it's not really due to the time of day, but just how open it is. If you're arriving from a round of Hurtgen Forest or Stalingrad, then reconfigure your perception of how dangerous it is to move pretty much anywhere. The sightlines are long. The flat, open ground means that kill zones are huge. If you're used to skirting around the edges of fields rather than crossing the open ground on maps set in Europe, then imagine a map made mainly of those wide open fields, and you start to get the idea. I must confess, at times I found this map to be about as massively frustrating as I've found any gameplay in Hell Let Loose. I'm playing on a 1440p resolution, so pretty used to seeing people at a distance, but a dude lying between two rocks hundreds of yards away, which looks to me like a couple of pixels amongst a sea of similar other pixels, and then he insta-kills me with a bolt action, can push the patience of even a saint-like player such as myself. And yet, at times, I've had some amazing and really different experiences with this map. It's so tough to traverse against a decent MG or other rifle placement that it means that, for me at least, finding enjoyment in the fights that you can have was much more fun than the rolling attack that you might be used to engaging in other maps. Defending generally feels easier. You can become that distant annoyance for other people looking to move over the open ground. It's also really very pretty at times too. Particularly when you're moving towards the sun and the fog is being illuminated from the back. It's very atmospheric and brings a really different, unique experience to Hell Let Loose. It also made me think about how many other World War II games have really used this environment for their maps. All that really jumped to mind was some old Battlefield or very early COD maps. But even then, the tendency seems to go to that midday sun baking in the heat kind of aesthetic. If you can think of other games that have used this region, then do leave me a comment below letting me know. I'm thinking maybe there may be some other sim titles that have used this area too. The other new map is a night variant of the bridge-heavy Driel. This feels much more like the other night maps we've got with strong moonlight. Visually, I'd say this is probably on par with its daytime counterpart, but the gameplay, you're still looking at the center of the map being the focal point for much of the match. So if you're a fan of that meat grinder gameplay, the intense all-out action in one very small area, then Driel is that regardless of the day or night version. And if you're not a fan of that experience, then probably best to skip this map. Personally, if I'm in the mood, then Driel is a bunch of fun, and if I'm not, then not so much. A very different map to El Alamein, but similar in the way that it generally plays in a very specific way. It's a nice change from the many Europe town and countryside maps that Hell Let Loose has, but not something you want to play over and over and over. At least that's my experience. It's not just the maps that have had a digital lick of paint though. The British forces take a visual refresh on the El Alamein map to more accurately match the uniforms worn in that conflict, but also gameplay-wise, the British forces are now in a much better place. It's perhaps underselling it a little, but previous to this update, the British forces didn't feel on a similar level to the other armies represented in Hell Let Loose. Well, in Release 4.5, perhaps the biggest impact to that change is a new standard SMLE rifle, aka the Smelly. This Lee Enfield rifle is already arguably my favourite bolt action of the game. There's something particularly satisfying and effective about it. And along with the SMLE is the drum version of the Thompson. Again, this may be period accurate, but to my eyes, it does look a little bank robber spec, like someone should be hanging off the side of a 1920s car. In other Hell Let Loose news, we have some preliminary testing of a new game mode called Skirmish. It is slightly ironic that I mentioned how Driel is a map where you generally plays with one point of focus for both sides, as that's basically the underpinning of this new game mode. It's still 50 versus 50, but it's a smaller map and is described as a gateway experience for new Hell Let Loose players. It's worth reflecting that not everyone has a huge amount of time to play games every day, so there will be people out there who have 30 minutes and just want to jump in and get to the action part of Hell Let Loose without the other downtime. So to that end, there's a new garrison called the Forward Position. Each team will only have one armor and recon squad, and it's only medium tanks and no artillery. It's going to be on existing maps, but with only one capturable point in the middle to keep everyone's focus in one area. The side that holds it when the map ends is declared the winner. The limited time frame of these tests means that I've not had a chance to play in this mode yet, but I am intrigued to see how popular maps will take to having that very intense focus on one point. So if you had tried this mode on the test server, then please do drop a comment below, as I'm really interested to know people's first impressions. The devs do go to pains to state that this new mode isn't seen as a replacement to the existing offensive and warfare modes. Those are perhaps thought of as core modes, with Skirmish being an almost casual mode. That's probably taking things too far, but this new mode does seem to want to strip some of that metagaming and admin tasks away from people who just want that experience of Hell Let Loose combat. I did do another video about this topic, but I was wondering what a Hell Let Loose audience would think of the news that Scriptum will be getting something of a revival. I've always considered the two titles to be complementary rather than in direct competition with each other, and although at a high level the description of both seem very similar, the experience of playing is actually markedly different. Scriptum almost seemed to take that extra step towards the milsim end of gaming, perhaps unsurprisingly, quite close to the difference between Hell Let Loose and Squad. I won't repeat the whole other video, just if you have any opinions on this as a Hell Let Loose fan, then please do leave a comment below right now on this or any other topic that we've discussed today. Like always, I'll be reading every single one of them, so I'll see you down there. If you did enjoy this video, please do tap the subscribe button and jingle that festive bell so you'll be notified when the next video is fresh out of the oven. Thank you so much for watching and for all your continued support. I saw all the shares and support that my last Hell Let Loose video got, so I wanted to say a special thanks to everyone responsible for that. Thank you very much, and I'll see all of you next time. Take care.